In a small Schuylkill County church, where a sign outside announced the title of an early November Sunday sermon. The best vitamin for a Christian is B1. Paul and Virginia Unger of Kenhurst renewed their marriage vows originally made 50 years ago. Officiating at the ceremony was the Reverend Marianne Unger of Lansdowne, Delaware County, the couple's 49-year-old daughter, who is kiddingly and proudly dubbed the overachiever by her father. Dozens of relatives, friends, and acquaintances were there too, some sitting in pews in St. Peter's United Church of Christ, came primarily to witness a milestone for Paul, 73, and Virginia, 77. She'd get really upset if I announced her age, but she's with the Lord now, so I don't think she cares. Some, such as contralto Vicky Moyer, 52, the church soloist who sang the Lord's Prayer. I have to use a magnifying glass because I'm that old. Accompanied by 78-year-old church organist Audrey Miller. I don't know why they had to put everybody's age in here, but anyway. Also wanted to see Marianne and share in the family joy of a beloved former minister. Quote, I don't know how she ever got away from us, end quote, Miller said of their former minister. That was so sweet. Marianne, in a gift to her parents, helped to reaffirm their marriage in a church the entire family loves. A small country parish, St. Peter's, was where her parents drove on Sunday to hear their daughter first preach after she graduated from Lutheran Theological Seminary in Philadelphia in 2000. It was where Marianne made friends and touched hearts before becoming the pastor at Bethany United Church of Christ in Philadelphia more than 3 years ago. St. Peter's, the Ungers believe, has always been the perfect place for giving thanks. And of course, it's continued on another page. Longtime relationships, loving children, devoted friends, but most especially a site conducive for meditating about miracles. The day after Thanksgiving 2 years ago, my mother suffered a massive stroke, Marianne said, noting that it occurred on the day she and her mother made Christmas cookies, a traditional they kept over the years, with her grandmother before she died. After we baked, we went ballroom dancing because my mother loves to dance. Marianne said, when we came home late that night, that's when our nightmare began. My mother became very sick and my husband, John, carried her to the car. We rushed to the hospital about a mile from our home. For her to be alive today and in such improved health is best appreciated in the words of her neurosurgeon, Dr. Richard Kainoff of Mercy Fitzgerald Hospital, Derby, who told us after her recovery, she is nothing short of a miracle. Marianne said Kainoff and his medical team saved her mother's life by performing a craniotomy to relieve a massive bleed in her brain caused by the stroke. She said the surgeon had to remove a 3-inch by 3-inch piece of Virginia's skull and place the bone in her belly to keep it alive and safe until the swelling in her head went down. She made it through this incredible surgery and was placed on a ventilator, Marianne said. My mom was unable to speak and she had what is called left side deficit. Eventually, weaned off the ventilator and a feeding tube, Virginia underwent physical, occupational, and psychological therapy at 3 different institutions: Bryn Mawr Rehab Hospital, Bryn Mawr Reading Rehabilitation Hospital, Health South, Cumru Township, and Reading Hospital's Outpatient Physical Therapy Department, West Reading. In the beginning, my wife couldn't eat, walk, or talk without help, said Paul, a retired letterpress foreman who for many nights slept in his recliner next to Virginia to tend to her needs while she was in a hospital bed. No way I thought she would ever feed herself again, but she has always been a strong woman and a cool one. She never complained. I was the basket case. I don't know, I just took things step by step, said Virginia, who worked for years as a payroll and a retail clerk and also was a dancing teacher. I guess I was determined to do the best I could do day by day. It's also wonderful to have someone in your corner like Marianne. The doctor even said everyone should have a Marianne. We are so very proud of her, and she loved it here at St. Peter's. We loved coming here too. It was like a big family. She is one person who, when she gives a sermon to people, she really believes it in her heart. And so where once Virginia couldn't sit up in bed and feed herself or identify an apple if held before her, or put numbers in chronological order, or separate a deck of cards, black from red, she now can do all of that, as well as give insights into the character of a loving daughter and husband. Today, she can beat me at rummy, Marianne said. More importantly, Virginia could walk down a church aisle and pledge to continue to cherish her husband. She neither cried when Paul said to her, "If I wasn't already married to you, I'd marry you again," nor blushed when the same man who tends to crack a joke to prevent a tear wrote his own words to an Elvis Presley song in her honor, saying, "Love me tender, love me long, love me till my money's gone." And believe me, it's gone. Virginia just smiled, knowingly well aware love comes in many forms. Paul has been a good husband, always worked hard, and is a devoted father, she said. Before I could even walk, my dad used to waltz me around the room on top of his shoes, Marianne said. With both my mother and father, I was never pushed aside as a child. I was always part of the plan. Once again, Paul, Virginia and Marianne Unger formed a union of love, a half-century's worth, at a small church altar, much to the apparent joy of their guests. We originally met at St. Joseph Hospital shortly after I got out of the service, said Paul, who served on 4 aircraft carriers while in the U.S. Navy during the early 1950s. I had some stomach problems. I think it was from the Navy food, and she had some other problems too. But I had a semi-private room, and she had a bed in the hall until they found a room for her. I knew I loved her the first time I saw her in her hospital gown. Virginia, of course, knows all about hospital gowns. They're purposeful, needed for cover before you get to where you want to be, dressed in a fashionable gown, walking down a church aisle while still in love with your husband and with life. Very emotional experience, very emotional article, but I think it's so important to share these stories of healing because God is so good. Thanks for being a part of my story, and more importantly, God's story. Peace be with you. In Jesus' mighty and holy name, amen.